Yo, welcome to True Ballers Podcast. What's going on, Chris? What's going on, A Benz? How we doing?
Good to be back. Good to be back.
We
The
got the
crew is finally back
trifecta.
together.
We got the trifecta.
Dude, it's the easy life. It's the easy life. We got Jim Harden on the team in the Nets land. It's fine. It's all going down.
A Benz, I love the red beanie, bro. Are you repping them Buffalo Bills up there, or are you just wearing
it? Come on now, bro. Don't play me. Don't play me. I'm definitely not repping the Buffalo Bills. It's just a little sense of style. You feel me? Style and freestyle, like Clyde the Glide Frazier. So got a little inspiration from him. That's all. And it's cold.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
true.
So put on a sweatshirt, bro. Or are you trying to flex?
No, if I was trying to flex, bro, I'd just do that. But
verbal meme for those who aren't watching. A-Ben's just flexed. So
honestly,
you're not watching
on that note, just for one quick thing, 1 minute, I recognize my new favorite person in this world. I was at the gym today. I went for a swim in the morning. I get out of it. I come back into the locker room and I just see a guy shirtless in the men's locker room, just flexing in the mirror.
Let's go.
One side to the other. And I was like, you, sir, you get it. Just only a towel on, just straight up flexing. That was just a personal little story there. So that's my new favorite person.
I could never take pictures of myself in the gym. I see, A-Benz, I see you giving a little sneak preview on the Snapchat.
That's it.
Chris, I don't know where you're at with that. I've never been able to actually take a picture of myself in the mirror at the gym. I wish I had the confidence. I just don't have the abs. I don't have the muscle tone. So I'm just not there with it.
Harry, you just come join the dad bod life. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm strutting. I'm in the middle right now. I feel like if I just made the jump, I'd be so much happier. Just in general. All right. Enough of that. Let's talk some ball. All right. This is what we're going to do today. At the beginning of the season, we gave you guys some of our MVP predictions, the odds that we liked. We gave you our most improved player predictions as well, and rookie of the year. Today, we're going to go through who we see as being the favorites in those categories, maybe some good value odds if we have any, obviously always going by those DraftKings odds. And then we're going to give you a quick update on our betting competition for the rest of the year. So I'm super excited about this. So we're going to start out with the MVP update. Now, we start out, obviously, Chris, you and I actually bet on Jason Tatum, and I think A-Benz, you were on board with that as well. But we bet on Jason Tatum. It's tough with him because Jaylen Brown is currently like maybe their best player. So it's even though they're both playing pretty well, it's kind of tough, and they've had so much trouble with COVID and missing games and not having as many games as some of the other teams. So that's who I'm hoping is the MVP. But I'll go ahead and tell you who I believe, if the season ended today, this is who I believe would be the MVP. And it was between, for me, I know we said to pick one. I didn't pick two, but it was between, for me, the obvious choices, Luka and Joel Embiid, who I faded at the beginning of the season. I faded the Sixers. I faded Embiid a little bit. But I watched those Sixers. Man, I went to Philly last weekend. Have you ever watched the Sixers with 10 people from Philly? There was playoff football on, and we were watching the Sixers versus the Grizzlies regular season game, way over that. And if it went to commercial, we might go back and check on the score of the playoff football game. But crazy, they're nuts, man. Anyway, shout out to the Philly crew. But anyway, so we were watching, and I was like, Joel Embiid was out. I was like, damn, this guy is so crucial to the team's success. They could not do anything offensively without him, barely anything. Defensively, too, it was difficult. The guy's averaging 25 and 12. Their team is really striving. And, as good as I think Luka's been really good, he's just, I think he's underwhelming a little bit, maybe is the right word. And maybe that's not fair, because you shouldn't necessarily not be the MVP because you're not as good as everyone expected, and that your team's not as good as everyone expected, because he's still averaging close to a triple double. I mean, let's not go crazy here. Another one that I'm sure somebody's going to mention is King James, right? But I'm thinking about the storyline here. It just hasn't been him. With Giannis as well, I just think that 3 in a row, it's tough. What's the stat on that again? There's like the last person to win 3 in a row was like Jordan, or who is it? Jordan and Kareem. We'll get our stat guys on that, but anyway, I just don't think they're going to give it to him a third time. It's all about the writers.
Harry, I just got the message in my ear. Apparently, according to an article that I saw in 2014, there has been no one to win the 3 straight MVP awards since, I think it says Bill Russell.
So
Bird sounds right. Bird sounds right.
Since Bird.
And prior to that, it was the Stilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. So those are the only 3 players in NBA history to go back to back.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think they're going to give it to Giannis again. So I just think storyline wise, if the Sixers continue to play really good basketball, if they end up being the 1 seed in the East, which, I didn't think would happen, but it seems like it's definitely possible. I can see him being the MVP just because of how crucial he is to that team's success. Benz, what's on your mind, pal?
I got a lot on my mind. This one was actually hard. I will say that Joel was definitely up there for me. King James, out of respect for year 18, and they do have the best record in the league right now. He was another one. But I'm going to go with somebody else. Again, this is my prediction. It's still early in the season. But my man's averaging a triple-double right now as we speak.
Julius Randle.
Nope. He plays in the Mile High City, and we know him as the Joker, Nikola Jokic. Okay,
I love it.
He's averaging 25 points a game, 11 assists a game, and just a little above 10 boards a game. So he's averaging a triple double as a big man, something I've never seen it before. So even though they're 6 and 7 right now, they're trending up. Shout out to the Toronto Raptors as well, because they are trending up as well. But I just think that without Nikola Jokic, the Denver Nuggets, they're under 500 right now. They're 1 game under 500, but without him, I don't know where this team would be. Jamal Murray's he's not showing up the way we thought he was going to show up. We thought he had a breakout mini season in the bubble and playoffs. Again, he had a fabulous playoffs, but without Nikola, I don't even think this team is in contention to make the playoffs. So that's why I'm going with Nikola. We've never seen what are they calling him now? Point guard center? Point center? Like I said,
he's not even a forward though. He's a center.
He's legitimately a center. That's
averaging a triple-double. And he's doing it on the defensive end too. So he's improving down there, and he's tough. So I gotta show some love. And Nikola Jokic, keep killing. I think they're gonna trend up. Harry, that's one of your picks. Like I said, let's keep it up, Joker. I like what I'm seeing.
Chris,
I'm ready to go.
You're ready.
One thing I have to say is, Harry, I'm utterly shocked that the name Nikola Jokic didn't come out of your mouth with how high you were on that.
I was gonna wait until you finish, but I'll just say it now. I'm not a believer in a player winning MVP when their team goes under 500 and really is unimpressive compared to what they should be. So I'm not saying that they're going to be under 500 at the end of the season, but as of now, if you ended the season today, you can't, in my opinion, they're at in 10th place in the West. You can't, I'm a believer. I love Russell Westbrook and what he did that year that he averaged a triple double and surpassed Oscar Robertson and all that stuff. But it's all about the storyline. Like I said, I was reading something the other day, actually, in a book that's all about basketball data analytics. And what the book said was that those awards, all the awards, are a popularity contest. And I don't mean that to degrade anyone who's ever won an MVP before, but basically it's saying that the guys that have the best stats, the guys that analytically are the best, don't necessarily always win, because it's all about who's the best storyline. That's what we keep talking about. Who's going to provide the best media content. if they win. So that's why I think Jokic would be a great storyline, but the Nuggets got to improve as a team.
Well, Harry, I'm really glad you said that because that's exactly where I wanted to pick up. Because I think of all the people's odds and as DraftKings, as of right now, where I look at it, Luka plus 400, Giannis plus 450, Kevin Durant plus 800. When you look at those three, Luka, the value's kind of sucked out. Giannis, I don't think they'll give it to him 3 times in a row. KD's going to have to split time with James Harden as well as Kyrie once he comes back, possibly tomorrow night. We'll deal with that later. But the next person on the list is Nikola Jokic. And
plus 1,200.
I have plus 800 when I look at DraftKings, but I could be wrong. But either way, I look at Nikola Jokic, and statistically, like you said, Harry, he's that dude. He is putting up stats that are absurd. And to go off of Aben's perspective here in terms of assists, the last person who was a center that led the league in assists was Wilt Chamberlain. That's because he got pissed at a writer and who said he couldn't pass, and he just decided to do it one year because he's Wilt the still. But that's beyond the point. He currently, if the season ended, would not win the MVP from that standpoint of a narrative. But the thing is, it's only like 12 to 15 games in the season right now. And if you look at typical NBA history, the MVPs always make that late run come February, pretty much February. That's usually the month where the MVPs won or lost, especially by a guy who comes out there and lights on fire. If Nikola Jokic and that Denver team, who's going to get Michael Porter Jr. back, who's continuing and going to be one of the better teams in the West, the value's there for him to win. And then to second off what you said, Harry, and I'm glad everyone kind of brought this name up too. Joel Embiid is a monster, an absolute animal, just a savage. And it's offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, he is their anchor. It helps that they have Dwight Howard, and it helps that he's able to kind of spell a little bit defensively and be someone who's going to get a nice shot block here that's going to make people say, ooh, ah. But in general, Joel Embiid's the guy that locks it down and is the key for them making this season work. So I would look at those two guys and say that's easy cash money. Our boy Jason Tatum, I still got faith in him.
Let's go.
Because again, they're continuing to win, and come the end of the season, their record is going to be pretty damn good. And as long as he comes back and continues to be what he was prior to it, he'll continue to be in the media's eye and everything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, when I look at DraftKings right now, his odds are well lower than a majority of other people as well. So those are the three I'd eye in on. But as of right now, it's clearly Nikola Jokic is probably someone who I would think will have the narrative once this team decides to pick up.
So let me ask this then. What do you think is? Which scenario of the following do you think is more likely? Do you think that Nikola Jokic they get Michael Porter Jr. back, they get all their guys healthy, they start winning games, and Jokic keeps up this triple double average, or it could be both, or Joel Embiid stays healthy for a whole season and the Sixers make a 1 or 2 seed in the East? And he keeps up his average, which I believe if he stays healthy, he will keep up the averages he's putting up. The thing about Jokic is you guys keep saying it's only 13 games and the Nuggets will come back. I'm kind of thinking that too. It's only been 13 games and his averages should regress. I mean, if they don't, maybe they won't regress. I hope I'm wrong. I love my man. I love the Joker.
This way, I think Malone has made the decision to run the offense through Jokic. For better or for worse, they're doing it. And when you look at what Jamal Murray's doing, and he's got to be better from the statistical standpoint. He's playing the team basketball, and I get it, but 23.5 and 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds and 4 assists is shocking from a point guard number, especially after what we saw.
Because Jokic is his usage rate is so through the roof. And like I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that they could possibly win more games than a 500 average with Jokic handling the entire offense? You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a factor of that. That's what I'm saying, is that they're relying too heavily on Jokic and don't have enough other pieces to give him some breathing room.
I mean, if we look at the bubble last year in the playoffs, the high usage rate was high for the both of them. And I think right now, as Chris just mentioned, Jamal Murray just needs to step it up. You know, we're not asking for him to have 10 assists a game because I think Jokic can really run the offense. And I think in the system that Malone has out there in Denver, I think he just needs to just play better. You know, Jamal Murray's not playing up to his caliber.
I agree. I think that I was gonna say though, like Murray also averaged like 40 points in the playoffs. So if that's what you need to win games, that if you're the Nuggets, it's not gonna happen. But he's not gonna average 40 over a season.
But I think that's what they needed to do to win playoff games and those kind of things with implications where it's like you're going to have your ball handler have it in his hands. And I think that still might hold true come later. But I think during the regular season, if you want to get everyone involved and you're going to continue to try to develop someone like Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray taking a step back in the offense is not a far-fetched thing. But again, the question is, do I think the Denver Nuggets can turn it around and start winning games? Do I think Joel Embiid's going to stay healthy for a season? I'll take the Nuggets winning games.
And I'm going to agree on that too. And that was one of the biggest concerns for me is his health. We know that, you know, his knees, his back, later on in the season, he's not playing back-to-backs right now, but there's always something with Joel. And I always go back to it with Joel. Did he do what he needed to do in the offseason in order for him to be ready for a 72 shortened season schedule? And I don't know if he is in that condition because
worth the end of time.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see. But I'd rather take I'd rather take the Nuggets on that spectrum.
We'll see. I you know that song My Neck, My Back? That's the Joel Embiid. We can't repeat all the lyrics on this podcast. It's a kid-friendly podcast, but go look it up. That's the Joel Embiid theme song.
What is it? My neck, my back, my Michael Doliak? Is that the theme song? Is that what it is? Oh, wait, I think
so. Something like that. Yeah, man. Let's hope that the Nuggets can turn it around. It should be a close battle at the end. If he keeps up this pace, then yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. So yeah, maybe we should get on DraftKings after this and potentially place a little wager on that. Because that's seeming like some good odds. At least maybe sprinkle a little on both of them, right? Him and Embiid.
Wouldn't hate it.
All right. Most improved player. So this one, I had three guys that I was looking at from a DraftKings odds perspective. And then one guy that I was kind of surprised wasn't there. So I'll give you a guess. Who do you think I was surprised wasn't on that list, wasn't on the DraftKings list? I don't know.
I can guess this one with pretty easy confidence. I think you wanted CJ McCollum on that list.
Wow, that was incredible. How did you do that? Did I mention him in a text thread or something? How did you? I was just surprised he wasn't there. I'm not saying he would win. I'm saying I'm surprised I didn't even see him as an option. He's averaging, I know he's averaged 20 points, over 20 points a few times in his career, the past like 5 or 6 years, pretty much his entire career, but he's averaging now close to 27 a game. All of his numbers are up. His usage, his effective field goal percentage is pretty much 60. I think he's definitely should be a candidate. I don't see why he doesn't have, maybe he's just been too good. You know, the three guys that are on there that I think that are two of them, I think are the heavy favorites right now. And based on the odds, they're the heavy favorites. And then one who's, I think, got good value. The two heavy favorites are Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant. They're Christian Wood's plus 150, or 125, Jeremy Grant's plus 300. I definitely can see Christian Wood or Jeremy Grant winning this award, because I think the thing for me is that, like, kind of similar to what I'm saying about CJ, I thought Christian Wood was great last year, but I just think not enough people were talking about it because he was on the Pistons. What's interesting is I think Jeremy Grant has pretty much doubled his numbers because he's averaging 36 minutes a game or whatever it is. His usage rate is out of control. And people are talking about it because people know Jeremy Grant from Denver. So like it's the opposite where like Christian Wood kind of grew into the player he is in Detroit. Jeremy Grant, people already knew was a good player, was going to play well in Detroit. I don't like giving it. It's tough for me with that kind of player who plays on a team that really just requires him to shoot the ball every time. And that's not the guy that I think I would want to give the award to, because I think about Julius Randle then. Then you got to think about Julius Randle on the Knicks. And do I think he deserves the most improved player of the year award? No. But if you're giving it to Jeremy Grant, you got to consider Julius Randle, who's averaging close to a triple double, as we talked about earlier, and the Knicks are playing pretty good basketball because of him. So to me, I would vote against that if I had a vote, but I don't. And then I like Christian Wood, the guy who I think has great value, but might have been also too good last year, is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, is a candidate. He's at plus 2,500 on DraftKings. And to me, he was good last year. I always thought he was good, but he's taking a step from good to great on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, to the point where I'm questioning whether Jason Tatum is the better player on that team. And I know in my heart of hearts that Jason Tatum has the higher potential, probably the better player. But I think that Jaylen Brown's making a pretty good case for himself as a very close second, and on some nights, best player of that team. And if they could, if he helps them and they end up being the first seed in the East, I don't see why he can't win this award. Chris, tell me why I'm wrong.
Dude, I can tell you exactly why you're wrong. First off, the Jeremy Grant thing, everyone knew once he signed the massive contract coming out of Denver that they were just going to give him the ball. And honestly, I was considering just waiting for a little time to input, but whenever you're mentioning that, I was like, Julius Randle's the exact comparison. And no writer is going to give it to a Julius Randle or Jeremy Grant type when they're on a team like the Detroit Pistons, or at least early on when Julius Randle was on the Knicks. And
he has the second best odds.
Trust me, I get it. And he deserves the second best odds because what he's doing from a statistical standpoint would signify that, except when you consider the person who I think has the best odds out there on DraftKings right now, and that is the water boy, Chris Boucher.
Oh.
Chris Boucher is exceptionally dangerous. Here's why. You look at what they did this season. Thus far, they've played 13 games. For the first 7 games, pardon me, Nick Nurse did not, quote unquote, trust Chris Boucher. This was a heated thing where even the last couple seasons, and you can go back and look statistically, he just played lesser minutes. But when he's on the floor, he produces statistically. They're on a team that's going to succeed. So I'm just going to give you a small rundown of what his season totals are. His season totals as of this moment are 16 points per game, an assist, 7 rebounds, 0.6 steals, 2.5 blocks, and 0.6 turnovers, and a plus minus of 62 over the entirety of the 13 games, roughly. Chris Boucher in his last 6 games, and tell me where this at, which is when he literally decided, when Nick Nurse decided out of nowhere that we were going to ride with him. Because before that, the first 7, he played 14 minutes a game, 28 minutes a game, 4 minutes a game, 24, 28, 20, 15. From that point on, he's been 29, 23, 32, 29, 30, 27. Chris Boucher in his last 6 games is averaging 26, 1 again in assists, but 8 rebounds, 0.6 steals, and 3.3 blocks with less turnovers. There's only been 2 games where Chris Boucher, after having more than 20 minutes played, has finished in the negative in plus minus. The man is dangerous. His PER, including the entire season, which is including the first 7 games, or that's also part of it, is 29.8. His usage overall is 20.8, so it's not that high. He's putting up these numbers in spurts without the ball necessarily being directly in his hands. And if you look at previous seasons, there's a really good statistical evidence to put him just in that same kind of conversation as Jeremy Grant. Obviously, Christian Wood has been sensational. Harry and I spoke about him earlier on too. I'm pretty sure he was the guy that we highlighted in general as well. And he's going to continue to do what he's doing. But the question is, will that, and currently speaking, Woods averaging 23.8, one assist, 10 rebounds, 0.6 steals, 1.7 blocks, and 2 turnovers a game with a decent like PER as well, 23.3, but a usage of 27.9. So you're getting a better PER with less usage from Boucher overall. And when you look at the teams and who's going to be probably winning more games and continuing to stay in the media, it's going to be Chris Boucher. And that's why I think at plus 1,800, if I'm not mistaken, is the odds that I see on DraftKings. That's absurd. So get in on the water boy, ladies and gentlemen.
That's interesting. I'm A-Benz, give us your guy, and then I want to kind of I want to say what I want to comment on this Chris Boucher. I like the take a lot.
Most improved player. I had a couple. This one was tough for me just because there's been a lot of boys that have been balling. I like your pick in Jeremy Grant. I like Christian Wood. I like Boucher definitely caught me by surprise. But hey, like I said last week, shout out to the Raptors because they're trending up. I see them trending up and continuing to do that. I, on the other hand, have somebody else. Seth Curry. Curry is having a career year as we speak. He's averaging 17 points a game, which is the highest of his career. But not only that, boys, he's shooting 60% from the field. He's shooting 59% from three-point land, and he hasn't missed a free throw all season. 100%. Seth Curry is the most improved player in my eyes right now. He's doing it on a team that's winning, that has Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. He might be 4 or 5 option. And he may be a part of the 50, 40, 90 club, which off the top of my head, I know Steve Nash and Larry Bird are probably the only ones that I can recall right now that have been a part, and I think Steph Curry as well.
Yeah.
I think.
So I got Seth. They're winning. They're making a push. And this is one of the reasons why I think the Philadelphia 76ers themselves might be able to make it out of the East because of contributions like that. So right now I'm taking Seth Curry. I don't know if DraftKings even has him on there.
I love that. And it's so crazy that we've said two guys that aren't even on DraftKings radar. Like you said, A-Benz, you brought up a good point. There's so many dudes that have been balling out this year and are better. I wanted to say about, what's funny about Chris Boucher? I'm getting heavy deja vu from when Pascal Siakam made his leap. So I worry about our man, Bobby Boucher, because you see what's happening to Spicy P. He's not living up to expectations. They got to rely on this new guy. And it reminds me a lot of when Spicy P was coming up and they had to stop relying on DeRozan because the man can't shoot 3-point shots. And all of a sudden, this guy, Pascal Siakam, is on the come up and he starts playing more minutes and he starts averaging more points. So I just thought that was interesting. I like both of your takes, though. I think that I don't even know how you vote on this. There's so many guys that are just playing so much better than they did last year and in past years that to me, it's impossible. I like the take of taking a guy like Seth Curry, who's contributing to his team, who's in first place. I like a guy like Chris Boucher if the Raptors are trending up, if they start winning games. I like Christian Wood. He has the whole drama of Harden and Harden leaving, and then all of a sudden the whole weight carry is on his shoulders after the storylines of him not getting drafted, his girlfriend walking out on draft night, all that drama, and now he's potentially an all-star caliber player. Jeremy Grant just doubling his averages because his minutes have doubled this season. And then, and Jaylen Brown just playing almost near MVP caliber basketball. So, I don't know. It's crazy. And then we said Julius Randle too. Like there's guys like that who are just like, you would never vote on them. But, when's the last time Julius Randle averaged a triple double? Can someone remind me? High school, preschool, elementary?
I will tell you, I do have the stat guy in here again. It says that Larry Bird has been in the 50-40-90 club twice. Malcolm Brogdon, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Reggie Miller, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Mark Price.
Steph Curry, maybe.
Steph Curry. I mean, you never know. You never know. Seth could be the second member.
So, hey, listen, boys. Well, did you hear those names?
Yo, Malcolm Brogdon. Also, shout out Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah,
he's too good. He's too good for most improved player, but he's balling out too.
I agree.
Straight dog.
Anyway, so this is why we're having this conversation right here, because Chris and I already know who his guy is. He already knows who my guy is. So maybe we let A-Ben start off with this one. But who do you guys got right now for Rookie of the Year?
I got my boy out in Charlotte, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, if you're listening to this podcast, at True Ballers Podcast, you finally got it right. Congratulations. I'm taking LaMelo Ball right now. I just think this dude's an absolute stud. He rebounds the ball. He can push the tempo. He controls the game. He's tough. He's gritty. He's aggressive. He's not afraid to shoot. Like his brother Lonzo. I'm sorry, Lonzo. I like you, but let's be honest. You're definitely not the top-notch offensive player in the family. So I got to give it to them. And the Hornets have been playing pretty solid. They got off to a shaky start, but now, their guard play is really, it's solid. So I'm going to give it to LaMelo Ball. There was a lot of haters of LaMelo in high school. There was a lot of haters when he went overseas, but I think I'm happy for him. He matured. He went overseas. He paid his dues. And now he's in the NBA showing like, you know what? Yeah, I can ball. We're not going to remember his first game in the NBA, though, because that stat line, unacceptable. But
hey, you can't choose what you remember. But Chris.
I got LaMelo.
No, it's a perfect lead-in because I'm in the same boat. I have LaMelo Ball, and I believe DraftKings is on the same wave. The funny thing is, I genuinely believe that the first 2 to 3 games were just a level of incompetence from a gentleman named Jimmy Barreros, I believe is the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Barreros, doesn't matter. The bottom line is he only played in his first couple games. Let me make sure I get this right. 15 minutes, and 20 minutes. I'll do the same thing that I did with Chris Boucher, and I'll do it with LaMelo Ball. When you take his accounting stats for any game that he included for 20 minutes or up, and I could put it a little bit higher, but I want to be just on that, making that a solid number because that's a pretty decent, sizable rotation chunk. He averages 12.6 points, 6.8 assists, 7.4 rebounds, nearly half a block, and he's still only operating in that stretch, which is essentially excluding the first 2 games where we only played 15 minutes apiece, at 26 minutes. His minutes should skyrocket because honestly, and I'll say it, everyone knows it, Devontae Graham can't shoot. Devontae Graham is a terrible shooter.
What happened with that?
After having a breakout season.
Yeah, what the hell happened with that?
The man's 2-point percentage is actually worse than his 3-point percentage, if I'm not mistaken. As of last I checked, which was last night, which was 118, Devontae Graham was averaging under 30% from 2 and just over 30% from 3 in general. Like it's atrocious how they're keeping him out there and holding back what is a young guy who can continue to make a difference. His turnovers are going to be a little high, but that's what happens when you have a new ball handler and he's a rookie inside the system. But defensively speaking, he's already a positive when it comes to defensive win shares. He's already a positive when it comes to the offensive win shares. And you look at his usage, which I believe is at 23.7. And mind you, that also has included the 15 minutes a game type thing too. That's only going to go up as Devontae Graham kind of starts to take more and more of a backseat. There's no excuse for LaMelo Ball not to be playing at least 31 minutes a game and to continue to smash his stats.
And I just want to add one thing to that, Chris.
Yeah.
I've seen him play. Must watch TV. The way he's out there playing, some of the things he's doing, you're like, wow.
Yeah, he's got the gift of passing. Harry, I know who you're going with, so I'll let you ride, and then I have rebuttals prepared. So I'm here. And A-Benz, I think you'll enjoy them. And I think you'll be able to pile on.
So where do I start here? So you mentioned something about Boucher that I think applies here, about how Chris Boucher does all that he does, and doesn't need the ball in his hands necessarily to do it. And I think that's a big reason why. Look, I don't know who necessarily is going to win Rookie of the Year, but for me personally, the guy that I think should win it, the guy that I think I want, the guy that I think should, yeah, at this point, obviously, I don't know. He could have 0 points a game the rest of the season, right? But at this point, who I think should win it and who I would want on my team for the next 5-10 years is Tyrese Halliburton. And it's close. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you that he's blowing LaMelo out of the water, but the guy doesn't need the ball in his hands, right? He plays with De'Aaron Fox as the point guard. De'Aaron Fox does all the ball handling, has the highest usage. LaMelo's usage rate is, like you said, I have it up here. Tyrese's usage rate is 14.6. LaMelo's is 23.7. So with a significantly higher usage rate, almost 10 points higher, Tyrese Halliburton is averaging almost the same amount of points per game, and their minutes. Tyrese plays on average 3 minutes more a game, I think. So he does average a few more minutes a game. But let me give you this statistic real quick that I think is just incredible. Okay. First of all, actually, before I do that, I wanted to say LaMelo actually is surprising me, not even in the assist category where his specialty lies, or what people say his specialty lies. He's only averaging one more assist a game than Halliburton. He's actually killing him on the boards, which is great, which I applaud. Good job, LaMelo. LaMelo, you've been really impressive. Don't take any of this wrong. Like, I'd be happy if the Knicks had either of you guys on on the squad. Trust me. But so I'm going to give you this stat real quick that I thought was just fascinating. So LaMelo Ball, his effective field goal percentage for this season is 40. Do you guys know what effective field goal percentage is? So just for the listeners out there, effective field goal percentage is basically accounting for the fact that a 3-pointer is worth 3 points, if that makes sense, and that a free throw is worth 1 point. Or sorry, free throw's not even included in there. But basically, a good effective field goal percentage is usually around 55-ish percent. LaMelo's effective field goal percent, 47.7. Tyrese Halliburton's effective field goal percentage is 65% for this season. Can I give you guys the top 20 all time? I'm going to give you the top 20 all time seasons. It's not some of them are the same guy, so it's not 20 guys, but the top 20 seasons of effective field goal percentage. Ready?
Oh man, can I guess 3 names?
That yeah.
Might be on there too?
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan, Rudy Gobert, and I'll throw Steph Curry in there for good measure too.
No, Steph Curry's not in there. DeAndre Jordan, Rudy Gobert, Mitch Robinson has the highest ever from last year. Wilt Chamberlain, Tyson Chandler, Artis Gilmore, Duncan Robinson from last year.
That's actually really
Clint Capella, Jared Allen. I think I might. No, I didn't mention it yet. Thomas Bryant, and those are the guys that have averaged, that have a 64, or that they're those are basically, that's who Tyrese Halliburton's in the camp with. The only guy that's not a center out of all those guys is Duncan Robinson. So this guy's shooting. This guy's also almost at 50. If you want to talk 50, 40, 90, this guy's damn near close to 50, 40, 90. If I could just pull up his 3-point percentage is 51. His field goal percentage is 52. And overall, his free throw percentage is the only thing lacking at 82. I mean, what do you want though? 82% is still pretty high. And yeah, I feel like the things that he does off the ball, when I was watching them a couple weeks ago, we had a bet in on the True Ballers podcast book. We had a bet the Bulls against the Kings, and this man, De'Aaron Fox, went out with an injury, and this man took over the game, bro. Like, took over as if he was a savvy veteran on the team, as if he was the best player on the team. And I believe that he could be the best player on that team in He might be now, but give him more time and experience, and he could be better than De'Aaron Fox easily. So that's my guy. I think he's the best rookie of his class. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't talked about James Wiseman yet, but Chris, give me your rebuttal. Tell me why I'm wrong, and then we'll go into James Wiseman a little bit because I want to touch on him. But
I'm so excited. So Harry, to start off, the effective field goal percentage, vastly good argument. The problem is there's regression. Regression always happens. It's regression to the mean. In terms of 3-point percentage, do you know what Tyrese Halliburton shot in college?
No, doesn't matter.
He shot 42% from a closer range. He's shooting nearly 51% as of right now. In terms of
he's taking it. Okay.
In terms of defensive win shares, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. In terms of defensive win shares, he's actually a negative 0.1, which means defensively he's not as strong as people are giving him credit for, according to that statistic. I've only watched about 3 or 4 of the Sacramento Kings games. I haven't seen him flash as a defender. I haven't seen him be bad. So I think that rating is being pretty much neutral is fine. When you look at a player like LaMelo Ball at 0.6, and that's because of how big he is and what he can do, just being able to be that person that's going to make your average height go up in general too, is so strong. Then on top of that, you look at Tyrese Halliburton, what he's capable of. Again, he's shooting 50% from the field. He's shooting 51% from 3. Is that because he's not necessarily the focal point in the offense? He's being able to take a lot of set shots, let the game come to him. LaMelo Ball playing with the ball in his hand, no pun intended, is someone that's going to probably struggle from percentages, but he'll make up for it in other areas, whether it's defensively, whether it's by making plays with assists, and also, like you said, the massive advantage in rebounds. And I'll say it in terms of the season totals, Halliburton's averaging 2.7, and LaMelo's averaging 6.8. So the stats are there to show that even though right now the points are comparable, if, let's say, for a reason, you see a drop off from Halliburton in terms of from 50.2% back to his college average, which would even be kind at 42, that's still going to impact his field goal percentage. That'll come back under 50% most likely. A 3-point percentage will drop. The free throw percentage actually should increase, in my opinion. I think that he's probably a better free throw shooter than that a little bit. I think he can get closer to 84 by the end of the year. But in general, you look at everything and what LaMelo Ball can do. And I think I'd rather have the Sacramento Kings roster rather than outside of LaMelo Ball and outside of Halliburton. I'd rather have the Sacramento Kings roster than I would the Charlotte Hornets, except for Hassan Whiteside. That guy can go kick rocks. That's a different thing. But so with all that in mind, I want to see what Avens thinks.
Okay, go for it.
I think I like Tyrese. I wanted Tyrese on the Knicks. I did. But the one thing that stood out for me in all that discussion was LaMelo has the ball in his hands at all times when he's in the game. And I think in order for someone to win Rookie of the Year, it's not all about the stats, you know, the PERs, you guys were bringing out some stats. Yeah, it's great and all. But at the end of the day, what we see, what the writer sees, what the voter sees, I think we're seeing LaMelo Ball develop into a generational type of guard. He's 6'6", 6'7", and
6'8", I think.
Yeah, and I think he might grow even a little more. They said Jason Tatum grew to 6'10", right? Is that what Brad Stevens said, Harry? Something like that. But my point is, Chris, what you said. The ball is in his hands when he's in the game. He's making the plays. He's making the decisions. Whereas in Sacramento, I kind of like how you worded it. Tyrese has a lot of opportunity for set shots. For the game to come to him, you don't really see him taking the game over. He has the capability, but I just think it's a system that De'Aaron Fox is the main ball handler there. Whereas in Charlotte, we have Scary Terry, who's having a really good season. So shout out Scary Terry. But as you mentioned, Devontae Graham is playing very subpar. We want to see LaMelo Ball play. And I think at the end of the day, we're seeing him play. We're seeing him develop. He had a triple-double a couple nights ago, the youngest player in NBA history to have a triple-double. So I think they're both compelling arguments. We're just gonna have to see on this one. I like both picks because hey, I like Harry said, no knock against any of them. I would love to have either Halliburton or LaMelo.
No shot at Obi. No shot at Obi.
No shot at Obi. But I would like to say one thing: if the Knicks continue to trend up, and IQ makes his way into the starting lineup, I think we have to talk about him. But we're not talking about the Knicks right now.
This is a month or two down the road.
Yeah, this because shout out to IQ. He is playing solid basketball. Really knows how to run a team and can get buckets. That's all I'm saying.
That floater. I have to say, and I don't think it matters in the slightest in this conversation, but I strongly disagree with the take that Charlotte or that the Kings have a better roster than Charlotte. I could not disagree more with that take, but I think it's completely besides the point. I don't think it actually should make a difference in this.
I don't think they both have good. I don't
they both
think
have
rosters.
They both have pretty bad. They both have pretty bad rosters,
Yeah.
but I would.
But if you're telling me that I could pair a De'Aaron Fox,
one guy who's been hurt a couple times this season, but then it's like Rashawn Holmes, bro.
Well,
and
Buddy Hield.
All right, PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Devontae Graham has been trash, but Gordon Hayward has been playing like a monster.
I'll give you Gordon.
Scary Terry has been playing like an absolute fiend. But
are you taking Biyombo over Bagley?
Dude, Bagley actually has been bad, but I would definitely. I would take
in episode 1.
I would take Bagley over Biyombo, but not over. I don't know if I'd take him over PJ Washington. But anyway,
I legitimately think Hassan Whiteside needs to be out of the league. But that's aside.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Like I said, that's aside from the point. I really like how people that when you don't have the argument against stats, the argument is, well, who really cares about stats anyway? No, but I'm just playing. I think that there's good arguments to be made for both of them, but I think that Tyrese Halliburton. You said the eye test A-Bens. I've watched LaMelo play a couple times, and I'm just like, he makes some good plays, some flashy passes that end up on ESPN. But besides that, like when I watch Halliburton play, I'm like, when I bet against Halliburton, this is a great way. And anyone out there, if you want to really like find out how good someone is or how good a team is, bet against them and watch your team against them. If you're scared shitless while they have the ball in their hand, they're probably a pretty good player. I'm not scared we haven't really bet too much. We've actually been betting on the Hornets more than against them. But
and they've been pretty successful.
They've been successful covering those 10.5 point spreads that they get.
And Harry, with that, I got one more stat to lay out there for you. The Kings in general are minus 129 on the season with a 5-9 record. With Tyrese, they're still minus 91. And this might lend credence to your idea of what the team's doing. The Hornets are minus 7 with a 6-8 record, plus 2 when LaMelo Ball plays. Overall. And mind you, and that's at the 20-minute mark.
Sacramento's play. I don't know what exactly the schedules have been, but I can almost guarantee Sacramento's had a harder schedule.
They probably have, but at the same time,
much harder.
The question becomes again, if you're talking about the reason why we've actually had as a group some success betting against the Hornets is that they are so close to even, typically speaking, when it comes to point spreads overall throughout the course of the year. Compared to Sacramento, where, like you said, you get scared shitless and Sacramento gets blown out a couple times, but the rest of it, they're competitive as hell. So they're firing on all cylinders when they're actually in your games.
It's tough, and I'm surprised that we could easily be wrong on both of these guys because it could easily be James Wiseman that wins this award.
I got 30 seconds on that too.
I want it, but if the Warrior, I was just gonna say one thing: if the Warriors end up making the playoffs as like a 4 or 5 seed and James Wiseman's averaging a double-double, I think that it's almost, I don't want to say guaranteed, but I would think it's pretty close to guaranteed that he would win Rookie of the Year.
I'll lay it out as simply as the fact that they don't play him in the fourth quarter because they can't trust him yet in the fourth quarter. And I think the writers recognize that if the guy's not playing in winning time, that as much as they're doing in terms of trying to develop him through the first 4 quarters, or at least when the game's semi out of hand either way, late. And that's
Also
what he's
fouls a lot.
He also fouls a lot. He's just
and I think that
his decision making suspect.
And I think that comes back to I like how you brought that up. I think that just, and Harry, I do agree. I think Wiseman is going to be a dog later on. Just he's not ready right now. I think Draymond Green is grooming him. But I think when we look at Halliburton and when we look at LaMelo, Halliburton had his years in college. LaMelo played overseas. These boys have experience handling the ball. And yes, I do believe Halliburton's IQ is higher than LaMelo's, but I think LaMelo Ball still has greater potential. On the Wiseman end of the spectrum, I don't think he's played enough. He played like 2 or 3 games in college straight out of high school. So I just don't think he has enough time under his belt for him to be considered for, Rookie of the Year. But hey, we'll see. I mean, the Golden State Warriors out of the 3 teams are trending up. So,
hey man, doesn't matter what you do before the NBA, just matters what you do during it. But I agree that he's not playing enough in the fourth quarter, but I think that'll change. It's kind of reminded me of Mitch a little bit in that respect where it's like, dude, why do you have 4 fouls? It's the second quarter. Shape up. We need you out there. If he can do that though, they could be really dangerous if he can figure that out because he has a jump shot too. So anyway, thank you guys for disagreeing with my Halliburton take. Listen, it's going to be a fun ride. We're going to do this again in probably a month or two, see where we're at. I'm sure everything will be completely different by that time. We're going to Jokic is going to be averaging a triple-double still. But other than that, everything's going to fall off. Randall's going to be down to 15 a game. The Knicks are going to be how many wins do they have now? 6 or 7?
We're 6-8, baby. We 6-8, baby.
We're gonna be 6-14 by that time.
Winning streak. Let's go.
So yeah, let's get it. Real quick, our betting. So for our listeners, we're going to split up. So what used to be a team collaborative effort on the betting side, we're going to split up now and do a little competition, little Chipotle, maybe a seasonal Chipotle bet. Myself, Chris, and A-Benz are going to each have our own betting sheet. We're going to post whenever each time one of us makes a bet, we're going to post it on IG. So make sure to follow us at True Ballers Pod on Instagram to see all of our updates and to see how each of our individual books are going for that, for the season, for the rest of the season. I'm super excited to bust these boys up in some DraftKings action. But hey, we'll see who ends up getting that Chipotle win. How are we going to do it though? Because there's 3 of us. So how do we do a Chipotle? I guess you just get 2 Chipotles.
Hell yeah, bro.
You get double burrito, double meat.
Whoever's in first place gets double, bro.
Double meat, bro. Double meat.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to word it like that, but
the carne asada.
Hey, listen, I'll take some carne asada with some lemon juice. So
get a drink, get some chips. By the time you're done,
and I want the full deal, boys. So that's like $15.99. So I mean, I know we say the $10 Chipotle bowl bet, but I want all the perks. That's all I'm saying.
You'll be able to get
chips.
You'll be able to get 2. You'll be able to get that and some if you win this bet, A-Benz.
There you go.
Which I probably will, just because I'm the ultimate competitor. So good luck, guys. But we need to call up
Chipotle and get them to sponsor us because I feel like we've done like 10 Chipotle bets and they've probably gotten so much free publicity from us.
I've actually was in contact with the regional manager a month ago because they forgot my chips. So I'll send out an email and see if we can get some. It's funny. I actually, they sent a card through mail and I got 2 free meals with 2 bags of chips. So I'll reach out to her. She's a nice lady. So we'll see how that goes.
So you're saying those coupons are for grabs? Is that
Oh, I already used them up, bro. Oh, man. The very next day I was in there, give me my chips.
All right. Well, thanks guys for joining. And I'm looking forward to that. A-Benz, let us know how that goes with the regional manager, bro.
Could I give my weekly shout out? Because I do this all the time. I gave out a weekly shout out 2 weeks ago to Steph Curry when, things weren't going well and they've been trending up. I gave a little shout out to the Raptors last week. Now they're starting to trend up. This week,
it's the magical shout out. The magical shout out.
Yeah. I just got to give it. I got to give my shout out this week to IQ on the Knicks.
Okay. Okay.
I
I
really
thought
like
you were
what
gonna
he's
say
doing.
the Knicks in general. I was like,
No. Yeah, after the rant I went on last week, I'm not gonna focus on them. But I will give a shout out to IQ, and I just think he's finally just letting the game come to him. I felt like he was doing that in the beginning of the season. Then he kind of got caught up with the media, the New York media. You know how it is once they start losing. So I just want to give a quick shout out to him. Keep doing your thing. Keep balling. Keep scoring the ball. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks, baby. Good shout out. All right, we'll take care and we'll see you all next time.